Some of you are practitioners of yoga, and you know that in yoga they have a thing called poses, asanas, known as heart openers, where you open up your chest, an outward movement with the purpose of opening up your heart inside. Outward movement, inward result. The purpose is to open your heart, it's to let the light in, and it's to let the stuff that shouldn't be in there out. Movement of the heart, so it gets unblocked. Now, we in the Christian tradition are in need of heart openers, right? And perhaps we would do well to adopt physical practices like this and adapt them to our prayer lives, because it's not good enough to just be passive here, right? It's not good enough to live with the tumult of the heart and then when you do something wrong to go to confession. We have to have some way to release the bitterness and the bile before we have the gall to let it rip. We need a way to balance the energies of our hearts so that we can develop the holy heart, right? The center of godly love in the middle of our psychic being. So I think, here's my conclusion. The best way to detoxify the heart is to do this. Open your heart and invite Jesus in. Invite him to take up residence in your heart and invite him to touch everything in your psyche. So the spiritual touch of Jesus is just like the physical touch of Jesus was in the Gospels. So when we read the Gospels, Jesus' touch on people is healing, is health-giving, it's holy, it changes their lives. And the same is true today when Jesus touches us. This is the most basic prayer of the heart that I can determine in the Christian tradition. When it's combined with a physical heart opener, like in your prayer life, when you do that, you'll find that you supercharge the prayer. Now, when Jesus is invited in, and perhaps you might want to do it right now, oftentimes you will experience an incredible sense of relief, right? There's a powerful letting go, a kenosis of the heart. There's a kind of emptying that we're bearing the burden of this stuff. This gunk of the heart is not good for us. It's not good for us. We are more alive when it is released. We are more awake in the Spirit. And so if the easiest way is to invite Jesus to take residence in your heart, or to continually invite him in to take residence, perhaps you might also find that Maranatha, in my mind, the best one-word prayer in our tradition, "Come, Lord Jesus," is a holy invitation to Jesus in his native tongue to take up residence in your heart and in your soul. Or perhaps you may find that you like the so-called prayer of the heart from the Eastern tradition, the Jesus prayer. "Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy upon me, a sinner." The Orthodox tradition, everybody in every pew, or actually they stand in church, knows of that prayer. Prayed over time is cleansing of the heart. But as far as I can tell, and I'll pass this on, and I'm happy to have you tell me your experience, it is Jesus who is the purifying element of the human heart. It's not something that we're able to do on our own. So to be golden-hearted, to grow to that way, comes out of the crucible of prayer. Justin has been talking to me about one of his favorite theologians who uses the phrase, the crucible of prayer. And a pure and holy heart is the opposite of the evil and defiled heart that Jesus is talking about in the Scriptures. It's a heart in full bloom, and you can remember in the Beatitudes where Jesus says, "Blessed are the pure of heart, for they will see God." Pure-heartedness is not just the absence of evil, it's also the abundance of love, right? It's that part of what Solzhenitsyn was talking about, that line. And pure-hearted people, we all know one or two of them, there aren't lots of them, but they do not defile, right? They bless. That's what pure-hearted people do. They bless the world. They have a holiness from within that just pours out of them. And so today in our world, there is a tremendous amount of emphasis on healthfulness, and there should be because we are all carrying around a lot of toxins. And there's a tremendous amount of emphasis on mindfulness, and there should be because we live in such a distracted world. But perhaps if Jesus were here today, what he'd say is, well, why don't you also pursue pure-heartedness? Because when you take a look at the world, what does the world need? It needs a change of heart. It needs holy people who are going to bless the world. God's going to bless the world through them. And if it ain't us, who's it going to be?